I saw the BBC 2 days ago say that the UN wants to end national sovereignty because it's not good for globalism. But again, I'm the conspiracy theorist for reading their own documents and warning all these years. Now they're out in the open. That makes it even worse that I've been proven accurate. Here's another one from Infowars.com with links to the UN's own website itself. It's got links to their official documents, kind of like they say they want to ban all firearms that Americans own. That's on the official UN website. But again, we're conspiracy theorists saying they might want our guns, even though they've disarmed people all over the world before they line them up and shoot them to take their property, as they admit they've done in Uganda and other areas of the world. All right, I'm going to stop being sarcastic here. The point is, UN receives Agenda 21 funding from world governments and corporations. Well, yeah, world governments run by mega corporations who are anti-free market monopoly people. They all have set up this combine. The Rockefellers, the robber barons, set up the United Nations. These huge numbers give a sense of the scale and growth of investment going into sustainable development. That means they shut down all their competition, and only globalists can operate in business. They are part of a growing global movement for change. Our job now is to create a critical mass, a irresistible momentum. That's the UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon in the UN document itself, getting billions of dollars outside of governments, giving it to them because they're going to get trillions total from taxpayers. A lot of the corporations want it. Government can shut down their competition, and it can give them corporate welfare checks. Oh, but wait. I'm going to talk about a prominent libertarian later. No one knows who they are, but they say they're prominent. Who says that any discussion of corruption or shadowy groups, it does not exist. So just everything's fine here. Of course, we're going to play you that CNBC thing where they said, yeah, we're run by global government. Yeah, big banks run everything. We're their slaves. I mean, they say that in The Economist and Financial Times now. Financial Times writes articles constantly saying, like, now for world government. It's authoritarian. It's been secret. We're enslaving you. Be assimilated to be destroyed. It's like Saruman telling Gandalf, you will join with Sauron. I mean, it's just, and it's like, I don't want to join with Sauron. And he says, Sauron does not exist then. Imagine that. It's like, and again, I know Sauron doesn't really exist. It's a metaphor. It's an allegory. The New York Times will have fun with that one. Being deceptive to their audience. Good. Knock your stock down. Drive everybody to listen to us. That's good. Keep being deceptive. Keep saying you're the gatekeeper who controls everything. So there is that report. Now, using the TPP is the next piece to renegotiate and expand NAFTA. And they had the SPP that got in all that trouble for making secret regulations without congressional approval. And so they've moved to this new organization. And we've got links to all the different documents with the big corporate organizations that are sponsoring it, where they get all the government leaders from Mexico, the U.S., and Canada together to then agree to things outside of law with the bureaucracies. And I remember CNN about 5 years ago, that was when I was making Endgame, they actually went on the news and said, Ron Paul is insane, the Trans-Texas Corridor does not exist, and the NAFTA superhighways don't exist. We had all the Department of Transportation maps, billboards up in Texas saying Trans-Texas Corridor. They were going to charge you with transponders to drive down all major roads. And everybody in Texas was like, there's billboards, it's on the news. And CNN said, does not exist. Oh, you said so, okay. And then they started pulling the billboards, though, because, I mean, if CNN's going to say it doesn't exist, they're like, oh, hell, we better. Again, every time you confront them, they back off. Oh, you don't like the SPP? We'll come back 5 years later with the TPP. Oh, you don't like, NAFTA's not going to get rid of your jobs. There's going to be no sucking sound. What did Al Gore say on Larry King to the guy he was, they're demonizing Ross Perot. Ross Perot's like, listen, Canadians are paying on average about $30 an hour, U.S. $19 an hour. When they got rid of the trade agreement 5 years ago, it automatically equalized. But something happened, Larry. And you can pull these debates up online on YouTube if you think I'm joking. Larry, the U.S. pay went from $19 to below $14, and the Canadian dropped from close to $30 down to about $17. This is not going to help workers. It's going to destroy the market. Henry Ford needed to pay his employees enough so they could buy cars, Larry. And then Al Gore and his whole effeminate things like, oh, no, conspiracy theory. This is a great deal, Larry. I mean, you can watch this whole debate. It's incredible. It's still on YouTube last time I checked. And of course, Ross Perot was absolutely right. Because Larry King's like, well, won't this help Mexican workers? Larry, did you just hear what I just said? Canada's getting close to 30 an hour. The U.S. worker's getting 19. The U.S. worker drops down to 14. The Canadian worker drops down to below $19. The Mexican worker getting an average of $1 an hour. He dropped, Larry. Larry, I got the numbers right here. It dropped, Larry. It's a giant sucking sound. It's a race to the bottom, Larry. You got to pay people so there is an economy, Larry. If not, it's all going to consolidate, which was the plan. How did NAFTA and GATT? See, if Canadians were paid 100, that would suddenly raise Americans to 75 and Mexicans to 25. But see, globalism doesn't do that, and it's not meant to do that. They've admitted it's a consolidation to implode the world economy, get everybody in false debt, and then take it over, as is happening now, and that clip is coming up. But again, being informed, having a memory, that's called being a conspiracy theorist. Larry, this is not helping Canadians, Americans, or Mexicans. It will lower it all. Giant sucking sound. But we didn't listen, did we? You're laughing. Do you like my Ross Perot imitation? Is that good? Well, no, we have a clip of that in Fall of the Republic with Al Gore, total Nelly. And Ross Perot's going, I got the documents. Look at this graph. And they're like shutting him down, and like Gore's doing this whole con artist confidence man act going, and then he looks over. And of course, Ross Perot really won the debate, but the media all said he lost. So the average trendy went, well, I guess Al Gore's right. And Al Gore's like, you bet it is, and polar bears can't swim. Now pay me money. There's no end to these con artists. If you don't believe, listen, some people say polar bears can swim. They're liars. They're conspiracy theorists. You know where that story comes from? They hunt in the spring on the ice packs because part of it always melts every year. They point a camera at it and tell you that it never has melted in all its history and, oh, my God, it's the end of the world. And then they show a polar bear family out there on a floe of ice, all fat as pigs, but they don't point that out, sitting there and go, they're drifting out to sea to die. Give Al Gore and the world government money and let us have a smart meter in your house. It'll take care of you and your family. And they never tell you. They never explain to you. They never tell you the truth. They're hunting beluga whales and seals on the ice packs and have been recorded swimming over 200 miles. Their numbers are up 5-fold since the 1950s. Look it up, for God's sakes. Oh, but that's a conspiracy theory. You know, they say in these training manuals, they'll tell you to look stuff up. Oh, that's a real code word. 5-fold increase in North America. It's even bigger in Siberia and areas of Northern Europe. I mean, they're like roaches running around. The polar bears, I know they're cute and cuddly. Why don't you go out and play with one? Okay, enough of that.